Hello everyone, I am Aditya Chakravarthy Sumbaraju, Data Stewardship Manager 2 at Walmart Associates Inc. Let me start with a simple question. How many of you have launched a campaign that looked great on paper, but by the time the attribution report came back, the budget was gone and the insights were academically interesting at best? Today, I will talk about a self-optimization funnels with governed agentic AI for the real-time attribution. Or in simpler terms, how can we make our marketing funnels smarter enough to learn on their own, but governed enough that your legal and data teams can still sleep at night? So, attribution problem. A picture is like a typical campaign here. If you try to see that, you're running a website promos, social ads, email nurtures, CRM workflows, mobile apps, notifications, and maybe even webinar. Your customer touches 5, 10, like sometimes 20 different channels before buying or deciding not to, right? So now here is the kicker. Traditional multi-touch attribution still relies mostly on the static rules, predefined weights, and delayed reporting. So halfway through the campaign, you are driving blind. By the time the polished attribution reports arrive, the money is spent, and the best you can say is, cool, we'll remember this for the next quarter. That's a missed opportunity. Like, what is the promise of the governed agentic AI here? Like, the idea behind the agentic AI is to break that cycle, which has been like, uh, yeah, taking the things to the next quarter, right? So that is something which you want to break. So, like, we combine the autonomous AI agents with strong data governance to create marketing funnels that learn continuously while staying transparent and compliant. Think of it as having a team of 24 by 7 analysts, agents that watch every customer interaction and update attribution in real time and suggest or even execute optimizations. But every move that make is checked against your policies, consent rules, and data standards before it happens. Why traditional attributes, why traditional attribution falls apart, like falls short? Why isn't like we are already doing is not enough? There are four main reasons to it. One is the static rules can't adapt mid-campaign. So your customers change, but your weights don't, right? So then the consequences is the reporting is delayed. Like insights show up after budgets are committed. Finally, we have one more component called the Indian like identity that is being fragmented. Different platforms hold different versions of the same customer. So this, yes, that's pretty obvious, right? So that's the reason it is fragmented. And the next one is the privacy and the regulation that keeps tightening. Yes, we have California rules, CCPA, and that rule always defines that, hey, as I'm being a California customer and opting out, so please don't market my information. So there are a lot many things out there. Not even we have MHMD from the Washington State, so that also applies to the same process, right? So these are the things which everything has to be kept in mind. So we have to keep tightening that thing, which demands a stronger governance over the customer data. So we end up with attribution that's slow, brittle, and sometimes risky. That's a gap governance governed agentic AI is designed to close. Uh, in this example, right? So uh, let's make this a real with concrete journey. Imagine Adam, a customer, considering high ticket analytic product. Okay. So Adam first sees the social ad and clicks and lands on your site. And he signs up for a newsletter and download a white paper. A week later, they attend a product webinar. And fourth one is like after that, they get remarketing ads and revisit your site a couple of times. Finally, he talks to a support engineer to clarify a few questions before they convert, right? So when they say convert, that means the attribution model from the click-through rate is happened and you have clicked something and then you purchased it. So once that click and the purchase that happens, then we call that as a conversion happened. Okay. So every interaction that contributes differently to Adam's final decision. Maybe the webinar was aha moment, right? While the last remarketing ad was just a reminder. Static attribution models will assign fixed weights to first touch, last touch, and the middle touch points, no matter what actually influenced Adam. Agentic AI, by contrast, evaluates each touch point true influence as Adam's behavior evolves. Agentic AI as a team of agents, right? So, so what's agentic AI in practice? Instead of monolithic model, we deploy multiple autonomous agents that collaborate through the governed data pipelines, right? You can think of four core specialists here. The first one is that the event collection agent. That is something like it captures the customer's interactions across all the channels in the real time. The second agent is like uh, it is your detective, right? So that is something uh, the identity resolution agent. So it reconciles identities across different devices, platforms, so that Adam doesn't become the five different customers. So we know who the Adam is, and we can directly that is something which is core here, and that is certainly needed to target those customers. So that's the reason the resolution is something which is very much important in our process, and that will save time and money. The third one is the attribution agent is your strategist. Okay. It evaluates each interaction contribution to purchase decisions. And finally, the governance agent is your compliance officer, right? It validates policies, the privacy concerns before any action is being executed on the targeted customer. So together, these agents form an intelligence layer that can observe, reason, and act always within uh, the guardrails of the governance policies. So a governance is a trust engine that makes sustainable. Autonomous decision making only works if underlying data is trustworthy. Without governance, agents can act on incomplete, duplicated, and biased inputs and generate very confident, very uh, uh, wrong recommendations. By enforcing standards, uh, monitoring quality, honoring consent, uh, tracking lineages. Governance gives an organization a confidence in every AI-driven marketing decision. So holistically, these standards, right, the monitoring quality and honoring the consent, right? So these are the pillars to for any kind of an organization to gain much of their confidence in. And it's what let's we say like you like yes, um, we know why this budget shift happened and we know which data and policies have backed it, right? And it's always interesting to see the architecture overview here and how we are solving the problem based on the three-tier approach in this particular slide. So architecturally, we can think of this the three layers here. At the bottom, that's the first one, which is the trusted data core. And that is something all the raw events and the governance controls have been enforced. And right above that sits the AI optimization layer, and where this is where our agents live. And on top of that, we have the monitoring and insights, where the overseeing of the performance and surfacing the human-friendly views, right? And so in our Adams example, right? So every click, webinar registration, and the support interaction flows through the data collection layer from websites, apps, ad networks, CRM, email, or commerce systems into the governed pipelines. The unified real-time collection ensures that when an agent decides webinar is driving more value than retargeting right now, it's not guessing, it's using complete current signals. So that is what we need to pay an attention to it. Yeah. Uh, and the governance. Oh, I just covered the data collection layer, right? So it's predominantly in collecting the data. And let me move to the next slide. That is the governance in action in the real-time learning. So let's zoom into this governance layer, right? And the continuous learning. The each event goes through four steps. One is each event goes through four steps. One is to validate, enrich, reconcile, and qualify. We enforce schemas, attach metadata and consent, and resolve identity, and only then let trusted events kick in to the analytics and optimization pipelines. Now, imagine Adam attends the second webinar halfway through the campaign. Governed Agentic AI immediately updates attribution. That channel weight increases, while some low impact display placements get downgraded. Each new interaction reevaluates prior touchpoint contribution, and the channel shifts are detected and reweighted in the real time. Marketing sees changing journeys as they happen, not 3 weeks later in a static report. I just covered this one. Let me move to the 14th one. So here we have the optimization cycle with an example, right? So once we trust the data and attribution, uh, we safely let agents optimize. The cycle is simple: ingest events, evaluate performance, identify opportunities, execute actions. But remember, every cycle is governed. Automation only happens where policies explicitly allow it. Again, back to the Adams example here. Like, suppose the system uh, learns what webinar attendees like Adam has 3 times higher conversation rate than the normal attendees. The optimization can automatically reallocate the budget from low performing display ads into webinar promotion, adjust bids to prioritize lookalike audience similar to past webinar attendees, refine audiences so nurturing flows focus more on educational content than the generic offers. Pause creative, pause creatives that consistently underperforms for Adam-like segments. The result is the funnel that continuously tunes itself around what actually working with humans setting objectives and constraints. Let's cover this. Going back to the transparency and explainability, right? So this one is like of course, uh, if agents are moving budget and changing the bids, marketing, data, and legal teams will ask like why. Every recommendation needs an answer. A few simple questions. Which interactions influence this decision? Which governed data supported it? Which policies were checked? What objective was optimized, then what is the revenue behind, and what is ROI, and how many signups we have received, and all the stuff, right? So that is something really important. And how can we audit this later? By baking transparency and explainability into a design, we avoid creating a black box and instead build a system that people can question, understand, and improve. Um, so here, I have six phases. I've divided the approach into six phases and the risk control rollout. So the vision is ambitious. So we don't deploy it overnight. We use six phases. Start by assessing data sources, governance gaps, event definitions, then implement the streaming and the identity resolution, build governed profiles with quality and the lineage, introduce attribution agents and test them against historical campaigns, deploy optimization agents with human approval, and finally expand autonomous optimization under continuous oversight. In practice, this means you can keep your existing marketing stack governed. Governed agentic AI is layered gradually. With humans in the loop, governance confidence is always high. Teams can literally sanity do a they can literally do a sanity check the recommendations against the past campaigns data before handing over more autonomy. Just covered this. Moving back, moving to the next slide. So where we are heading to? Sorry. Looking forward, like agentic AI in attribution is going to become more powerful. We will see stronger reasoning with multimodal signals, combining click streams, content interactions, support transcripts, maybe even conversational interfaces for optimization, right? So federated learning will enable privacy preserving analytics across distributed environments where data can't simply be centralized. So the future is like imagine that agents that don't just optimize marketing, right? But negotiate trade-offs between the marketing, sales, and supply chain instead, correct? Making sure we don't drive demand and products that logistics can deliver. That's where the governance become absolutely critical because autonomous decisions making will stretch well beyond the marketing department. So what are the key takeaways here? Um, let's wrap up with the four takeaways. Static models can't keep up with complex evolving customer journeys. We need continuous learning, not just periodic reporting. That's the first thing which I've learned. And the next one is the governance is what it makes autonomous safe. The trusted data is the prerequisite for the reliable AI decisions, correct? Yeah, that's also we have seen so far. And the third one is the agents here are augmented but not replaceable. And the market is uh, freeing them from their routine tuning and I think this way, right? So they are doing some the routines and now the agents are taking care and they are in a better position if you add your governance policies. So that is something like you can focus on how and where instead of what, correct? So that is where the agents are coming in. And now a phased governed rollout minimizes the risk while giving the organizations to path increasingly self-optimized funnels. Organizations that combine governed data, autonomous intelligence, and the continuous optimization will build a sustainable advantage through the smarter, more accountable, and more accountable marketing. Thanks all. I'm happy to dig into how could we apply your own campaigns and the landscape. Thank you all.